You're watching Texoma's Fox News at 9 in high definition.
Hello, and thanks so much for joining us. Despite a few showers over the weekend, the heat index in Texoma just keeps rising. So Maryville Santiago went out to see how workers who have to be out in that scorching heat are taking precautions to try and avoid heat-related illnesses. Doctors say it can get very dangerous quickly.
It's hot.
For Joe Williams, another day on the job means another day under the sun.
We stress on water, staying hydrated, not too much Gatorade and stuff. Sugar drinks, no good.
And with the rising heat, it's even more important to keep cool.
We take it a little bit easier. We still got to keep production going.
Dr. Alvaro Zavallo says avoiding heat-related illnesses starts with prevention and identifying when something is wrong.
So you want to make sure that if you start having any of the early symptoms of the spectrum, so cramps, feeling nauseous, headache, sweating a lot, not feeling well, you got to remove yourself from the situation.
It sneaks up on you.
And for first responders battling fires, it's more about precaution.
We're used to being around here. We're used to it being hot, but when the humidity gets up to 70 or 80%, it's a totally different game then.
Hughes says it's hard to train for extreme heat, but switching out crews and constant breaks during the hottest calls do help.
Mainly when you go out on the calls, when you have the high heat index, it's mainly just make sure you're well hydrated.
We just look out for each other, and we already know, we talk about how to handle it and signs of heat strokes, and that way we can prevent it.
And some advice, keeping an eye out for one another, no matter what the profession, can save lives. Dr. Zavallo says it could take anywhere from 7 to 10 days to get accommodated to any heat-related weather. But as always, he advises to drink water and stay hydrated when you're outdoors.
Maryville, thank you very much for that report. Now, on our Facebook page, we're asking you how you like to cool off during the summer months. 65% of you say you'd like to stay indoors. 28% say swimming. Well, I like that. 7% eating ice cream. If you'd like to weigh in as well, you can find this poll on our Facebook page. Just search KJTL. Our Cool Down Texoma fan drive remains in full swing to help those without the luxury of air conditioning. All you have to do is donate a new or gently used fan. You can drop them off here at the station too at 4500 Seymour Highway, at Regeneration at the corner of Taft and Midwestern Parkway, or at Service Master there off Virginia Avenue. Kiowa County authorities are looking into the drowning death of a young boy north of Snyder. Officials with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol say the 4-year-old was swimming at the Tom Steed Reservoir when wind blew him and the raft he was floating on, past the swimming area. The boy went underwater as he jumped off the raft and never resurfaced. His body is now at the Oklahoma Medical Examiner's office. This is the 4th water-related death involving a Texoma resident in just the past 2 months. 31-year-old Scott York was found dead in Lake Iowa Park on July 6th. On July 3rd, Oklahoma Highway Patrol officials reported finding the body of a 69-year-old Bob Garcia of Wichita Falls, 60 feet from the shore of Lake Texoma. Authorities believe Garcia went into the water near the back of a powerboat to check a problem and never resurfaced. And last month, 7-year-old Michael Ornderchek was pulled out of Lake Iowa Park. He was found floating, unresponsive near the boat ramp and was taken off life support on June 8th. A 22-year-old Wichita Falls man who was arrested in 2015 after police say he left his phone and ID at the scene of a burglary is back in jail for allegedly violating his probation a second time. Tyler Hossey was booked into jail on Saturday. In 2015, police say a resident came home and found a broken window and numerous items missing, including a 55-inch TV, a gaming system, and DVDs. She also found a backpack under the broken window, and inside it, police found a cell phone and ID card listing Hossey's name and nearby address. He was also linked to another burglary, too, in the same area. Hossey had his probation amended last October for violations and was assigned to a substance abuse center. And now, after negative reports for attitude, compliance, and disciplinary issues at the center, Prosecutors are seeking to send him to prison. The proposed downtown convention center may be put on hold for a little while longer. Wichita Falls city leaders and Gatehouse Capital are still reviewing necessary legal documentation, and they could decide to delay the project in their meeting tomorrow. Back in May, they decided to build the proposed DoubleTree Inn and Conference Center using sales tax funds. Drug addiction is often an unseen killer, tearing apart addicts, also their families. But as Darren Mullen shows us in this week's Pay It Forward, sometimes hope can help get someone in that situation back on the right track.
Pay It Forward on Texoma's Fox, brought to you by Domain Real Estate Services.
It's a great feeling, to know that you can give back what's been so freely given to you.
Danny Carragher knows a thing or two about nuts and bolts, but he also knows the nuts and bolts of second chances.
Before I got clean, it was terrible. I had a 30-year addiction to alcohol and methamphetamine. I would try to get clean maybe 2 or 3 days at a time, and it just wouldn't work.
He was so tired of the fight, so tired of not being able to be who he knew he needed to be. Y'all ready for this?
That's when Danny reconnected with John Welter, his dad's friend and a former pastor in Archer City.
Glad to have you guys with us.
Couldn't ask for a better man. He loves the people that are maybe forgotten by society. He just loves people.
Who wants to start out with the 25th verse?
John runs Scarlet Letter Ministries, helping anyone who may be struggling with addiction. In his eyes, getting clean is just the beginning.
And when we begin to learn how to give back, then our problems don't seem quite so great.
The act of paying it forward has become second nature to Danny. After he completed his rehab, he began teaching the same Genesis program he went through, a transformation that has inspired all those around him.
And so for him to do what he did it's an amazing thing. Plus, his dad got to see him sober before he passed away. And that for his father was an amazing blessing before he died.
John has been like a father to me. My dad passed away in January, and John kind of filled that spot. He's just a loving guy.
And on behalf of Domain Real Estate, thank you for what you're doing.
That's why Danny wanted to pay it forward again to Scarlet Letter Ministries, so John can continue to be a guiding light for all who need it.
My life has changed so dramatic. I've met and married a wonderful woman. We've been married almost 18 months, and like I said, I've got almost 3 years clean and sober, and I've got a great job, and couldn't ask for a better life.
Darren Mullen, Texoma's Fox.
If you'd like to pay it forward to someone, just click on the Pay It Forward logo on our website and tell us why. Still to come, how your iPhone is watching your every move, storing that information on your phone, and even putting your location on a map.